Mhm.
What's up, everyone? This is Lucas Keelan. Welcome to the Don't Know podcast with my special co-host, Silverpunk, my robotic co-host, Silverpunk. Why don't you say hi to everyone in the audience?
Not actually a robot. My mic doesn't work. So thanks for that intro.
Today we're going to be covering Spiderman Far From Home. To be perfectly honest, it wasn't half bad of a movie. I honestly like this movie a lot more than Homecoming. Quite a nice movie.
I think I liked Homecoming more, honestly.
Homecoming was pretty good. It actually gave me
I liked Vulture a lot.
it gave me more of a reason to actually root for the bad guy, especially comparing modern world problems with like superheroes and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So in this movie, Peter Parker decides to go to Europe with his class. This takes place after the events of Endgame, where everyone gets unsnapped, which is quite nice.
Except for a few characters.
Oh yeah, a few characters didn't obviously make it. If you haven't seen Endgame,
Can we spoil that, or is that...
I mean, it's been over like a couple years. If you want to spoil Endgame in a podcast, that's honestly up to you.
Fair.
And okay, so in this movie, only a few handful of people know Peter Parker's identity. In that case, it's obviously Nick Fury. The new character that we meet, Mr. Beck, he is going to be playing the role. He plays the role of Mysterio. Yeah, very cool character and all that. Honestly, I like his entrance in the whole movie, coming off as a story of someone that fled from another Earth that was pretty much being under siege by elemental beasts and all that. I thought that was pretty cool.
I like how he was handled as the twisted villain.
Yeah.
For someone not familiar with the comics, that was a cool reveal.
It was rather interesting how Peter got all this technology from Stark and everything, from the drones to the brand new suit and all that. And even he actually starts learning about how to use the suit properly in like the first movie, which is pretty nice. I think what's pretty cool about it is, he sees Beck as a role model.
It's like a new mentor after Tony Stark's death.
After Tony Stark died. And I mean, you can see that like from the if anyone remembers Tobey Maguire's work, this is honestly interesting seeing like a smoother version of Spider-Man, even though everyone loved the detailed version a lot more. In my opinion, I think Beck was quite an interesting villain. We never would have expected him to be the villain if you haven't read the comics, as such.
Right.
But honestly, Peter probably wouldn't have known that giving away Stark's technology would result in something like this. It's actually kind of interesting how you even learn that he's not exactly a supervillain. Like, he is a supervillain, but he doesn't actually have powers.
He doesn't have powers.
It's all just illusion-based with drones and all that, which is pretty cool. Well, what makes it even more interesting is after Peter learns that he actually got betrayed and all that, Happy comes to pick him up in the Netherlands. And
was that the Netherlands? I forgot.
Remember, it was... Actually, no, it was Holland, if I remember correctly. It was Holland. He got picked up in Holland.
I'd have to look that up. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've seen the movie.
Honestly, it was really inspiring how Happy was talking about how no one could be Tony, not even Tony. And, bringing on that whole motivation that Peter needs to be his own kind of hero. He doesn't have to be role model. He doesn't have to live in Tony's shadow anymore. He could be his own superhero and everything. To be honest, I think what was kind of odd, the cast. Mary Jane was fine.
What about the cast?
Actress for Mary Jane was really good as always, playing the role.
Mm-hmm.
Peter's friend, honestly, just lovable guy.
He's hilarious.
The bully, if I remember correctly, his name was... what was his name?
Let's just call him Bully Maguire until we remember.
Bully Maguire. Call him Bully Maguire.
Yeah.
Well, the bully in the series, or in the movie, was quite alright, Your typical, like, high school...
pretty lame antagonist-ish
bully. Oh, yeah, definitely. Serving his own purpose. Nick Fury, honestly, in this movie, you can even tell, like, after... He didn't have much of a huge role, of course. But after a while, he knew that half the stuff that Beck was telling him, especially in the final scene in London, where Beck's saying that's a combination of all the elemental monsters that are fighting. I mean, you can even tell, like, when Nick Fury says, like, even I know I'm not falling for this. You know, it's rather unfortunate.
Wasn't there a post-credit scene where you find out that wasn't actually Nick anyways?
Oh yeah, that is even more true, which is even more crazy. But if anyone remembers how the movie ends,
next movie as well.
If you remember specifically, what happens after Mysterio dies is he ends up leaking Peter Parker's identity as Spider-Man to the whole world.
Mm-hmm. And that's the basic plot of the next movie.
Yeah, honestly, I thought that whole thing, that whole dramatic thing where he's like, it's like Peter Parker, it's like Spider-Man is, and he just like cuts out and then it comes back and he's like, it's like Spider-Man and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
That
did he actually die there? I don't remember if he did or not.
He died, but the thing is, Peter didn't necessarily kill him. The drone did.
Yeah, the drone isn't his.
Ironically, I think what's even more funny is if you remember the one scene when they stop at the rest stop, and the one agent tells them to strip and everything, and the bully and the bully comes in and he walks into the scene. And he gets the wrong idea and everything.
Oh, that part of the movie. I forgot about that.
I think what makes it worse is Peter makes it where pretty much his phone gets wiped and everything, and he just gets made off to be like the bad guy or like the jerk of the movie. Which in reality, if you don't have the proof, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know, not a bad movie for the most part. I very much like the new actor. He's doing a great job. I'm honestly excited for No Way Home. We get to see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire again making an appearance, along with Doc Ock, Green Goblin. Maybe we'll be able to see.
Actually, we haven't even seen any of those guys in the new trailer. All we've seen is Green Goblin and Doc Ock.
Oh yeah, we don't know. We don't know if they're gonna make a full-on appearance and just save the new Spider-Man, or we don't know if they're just going to make cameos. It could be anything.
Yeah.
For the most part, I'm looking forward to this. This movie was pretty good. You know, from the start to finish, it was honestly pretty great. You know, it had its few ups and downs. You know, I think what was pretty hilarious in the beginning was when he was going into the airport and they were checking his bag, and his suit was on full display. And then the lady just pulls up the banana and she's like, no.
You seem to remember this movie much better than I do.
It was a great movie. A lot of Marvel movies are pretty memorable. I mean, if you talk to anyone that likes to talk about like the Infinity War or Age of Ultron, or if you're a fan of the Iron Man movies or Captain America, you know, there's a lot of good memorable moments in these movies. You know, I think it was pretty hilarious. Was at one point when he was asking his Aunt May and Happy if they were dating, and they're like, "What? No." You know, for the most part,
there's way too much I remember from those movies.
I gotta say, if I had to rate this movie from like a 1 to 10, I'd say it's like an 8 out of 10. It was pretty good, but it's not perfect. Yeah, like an 8 out of 10. What do you think, Silver?
Objectively, like maybe a 7. I thought it was fine. Just I don't remember anything from the movie, which I think speaks a lot to how not how much I enjoyed it, but how good it was. I can't remember a single fight from that movie either, which is kind of the whole point of these superhero movies, aside from what else they got going for them. I do remember Endgame, Infinity War, maybe the first Iron Man, but like Far From Home, no, you remember the very ending, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, that wraps about all the time we have for today. If you would like to see more of the Don't Know podcast, we'll be posting every week on Saturdays or Sundays. We'll be covering different topics from movies to anime to video games.
What we're doing.
We'll get there eventually.
Or not. We'll see.